Hi everybody, it's Kevin from Gameology, and I am here with some of the top Xwing players of our region here in California. And what we're going to do today is talk to you all about Wave 8 and getting ready for store championships. And if we have some time, we'll get into some serious strategies going. So actually we'll start off, you probably know some of these people by name, but we'll have everybody introduce themselves and talk about some of their highlights, how you all did at Worlds and how you did at Regionals last year. Dallas?
Hi, so I'm Dallas Parker. I've been playing Xwing for, 2.5, 3 years. Did really well at the last 3 Worlds, made the top cut. So yeah, I've just been enjoying flying ties all the time.
He's the king of tie swarm.
You could say so.
Yeah, so my name is Kari. This was my first Worlds and I made the cut. I'm from Iceland. So I flew Karan and 2 eyes, and yeah, I guess that's it.
You made the cut. How many people actually played at Worlds as we're going through the intros?
296, 276.
Yeah, it was close to 300.
Yeah, close to 300, not bad at all. Don?
Hi, I'm Don Tolentino. I've been playing Xwing for about a little over a year now. And this is my first Worlds, this past Worlds. I did better than I thought I was going to, so respectable 5-3. So yeah, I had a lot of fun. It was good to learn from a lot of different players from around the world.
Great. And Drew, we've got you on Skype from Northern California.
Yes, sir. So my name is Drew Bishop. I have been playing Xwing for probably about as long as Dallas has, for about 2.5, possibly 3 years-ish. And it was my first Worlds, and I also made the cut, flying what used to be a really broken ship, which was Whisper, who is now really not considered to be broken anymore, but I don't know. Yeah, so that's me.
So one of the cool things that we're going to be doing today is we're also going to eat, so we're over at my house instead of actually at the store, and I barbecued up some ribs, we got some salad going, obviously our turtles cups, so hopefully the second movie will be better than the first one. A couple of guys from the crew of it are actually here today, so we'll be picking on them. I'll probably edit that out, don't worry. Yeah, we're going to dig in. Let's actually go around again. What are your first impressions? We've got 2 ships out now for Wave 8, and we've got the Ghost coming. We've got the dropship carrier.
Mm-hmm.
So Dallas, I know you're obviously wanting to upgrade your tie swarms.
Yep. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to the Gazanti. So for those of you that don't know or haven't seen it yet, there's going to be 4 new tie pilots. The basic one is Chaser. He's pilot skill 3, and he can take focus tokens from friends that were already used. He's going to be a great ship. If you got like 1 more point than an Obsidian, you can just throw him in, no problems. Wampa's going to be amazing. I'm going to be running him all the time. He does great. In essence, what his ability is whenever he rolls a crit, he can cancel his dice and say, okay, just take a face down damage card. So he hits well against robots, hits well against Corrin, everything high evasion.
So they won't even get a defense roll against that?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, you roll a crit. It's like, okay, you don't get to roll dice. I'll just do it damage to you.
You just take one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the big problem with tie swarms or ties in general, is they only have 2 attack dice. So it's hard to force damage through to like 4 agility, auto thrusters, fade focus, stuff like that. So he really shores up that tie weakness.
Okay.
Then we also got Youngster, who's not too bad. Right now he's got some abilities that are EPT only, so you can throw. He lets all his friends do EPT abilities that are action based. So expose.
Let's for some newer players. What's EPT?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the elite pilot talents. So like Poe, Dameron, or Wedge, or Howlrunner have elite pilot talents, and they can do an ability. You can upgrade their ship with that ability. So Youngster has that, and then he can take a card like Expose, which does +1 attack dice for -1 agility, and he lets all his friends around him use that as well. So right now it's not the best because Expose isn't real great for TIE fighters, and neither is Marksmanship. But it allows FFG, the company, Fantasy Flight Games, to come out with more ties later or more abilities that really work in the tie swarm.
Okay.
So he's a great long-term use, I think.
Okay. And Kari? So a little bit about the barbecue today. I made up some ribs here. They've got actually a brown sugar sesame flavor to it. So I see Drew is now really jealous because he didn't make the drive down. He's like, it's not worth it. And then I have a citrus avocado salad dressing for the salad. So I hope you all enjoy it. I'm not from California, so this is actually real barbecue, not stuff you get out here. You know that's true also, right? So going into, Kari, we're going to have you talk a little bit about your thoughts of what's coming up with Wave 8.
Well, I'm not much of a TIE fighter player like Dallas is. I know that he's quite excited about that, but I'm more or less, I think the Ghost is something I really want to look into. Especially the docking mechanism that's coming. So you have the Ghost, and then you have the Phantom, and they can dock together and fly, and then one of them can leave. So I'm not quite sure how that will work, but I think that that's definitely something I'll be looking into.
Yeah, it feels weird calling it Fat Hera, because she's
Yeah,
a skinny
but-
Twilight. But
Yeah.
do we think that that's going to be an alternative to the Fat Dash and Fat Han, which is a big ship with a ton of upgrades on it, and then some smaller things to fill in your 100 points?
I think definitely people will try it,
Okay.
and I think it could be a great match with Koran. I fly Koran quite a lot,
Okay.
so I will try it, but we'll have to see
We'll see.
how it works.
Do you think it'll be able to match with the Decimator?
Yes,
Okay.
I think so.
I'm
Yeah.
definitely looking forward to trying that then.
Mm.
Don?
Yeah, I'm also looking forward to the Ghost. I think it's going to be a pretty solid chip. I'm also curious about the docking mechanism, how it's gonna like come out after your turn, after you make a maneuver, and then you could shoot. And then like, how does it come back? Like that's still kind of something to look into. And then it's interesting because it's not a turret; it's a pancake, but it only has a front arc, unless you have unless you have
Which
the Phantom put onto it. So that's also gonna be interesting. But with Hera's ability, where you could change, you reveal your red or green, and then you change it to another red or green. I think that's going to be pretty good. But being at pilot skill 7 and not having an elite pilot talent, that might hold it back a little bit. But I think it's going to be overall a pretty good ship.
So you think people will try to put things like veteran instincts, get their pilot skill up to 9, or
No, it doesn't.
turrets?
It doesn't have a.
Oh, it doesn't have the slot for
Yeah,
it.
it doesn't have the slot. for it.
Okay.
So at first I thought it did, and then it's like, oh yeah, I'll just bring it up to 9, and then
No problem.
yeah.
So
no problem.
twin laser turret, probably a mandatory upgrade for the Ghost then? Or a turret of some kind?
Yeah, a turret. Because if you have a turret on it, then if you have the Phantom still docked, you could do your attack out the back arc, special arc, I guess is what they call it, and then a turret shot. So having like the new dorsal or dorsal turret or TLT or twin laser turret on it, I think it would be good to have.
So any of the new upgrade cards, or Drew, actually, let's get you in on this. What are your thoughts initially, at least of the ships?
Yeah, my thoughts are I'm really interested in the Ghost. I printed out my own. I have everything
Nice.
printed out already because I've been playtesting with it now that the dial's been out. And I am super interested in the T-70 as well. There's one pilot in particular that I'm a little nervous about when it's being paired with a ship such as like a Fat Hera sort of build or a Fat Han build. And I'm not sure if I don't think it'll hurt the game in any way, shape, or form, but it may put people a little off kilter. And the ship I'm thinking of, at least for the T-70s, is Red Ace, who is the first time you remove a shield from them, you gain an evade token. And so the build that we have is we have Fat Han paired with Red Ace with the new comms tech that says you can keep an evade token if you have one. And then you run them with R2-D2 and auto thrusters. And you have this like T-70 that is actually fairly maneuverable, largely because it has boost. And you have the ability to gain shields, and then if you lose one, you get an evade token. So I'm a little nervous about that, but I'm most excited for the Ghost.
Now, are there any upgrade cards coming in? I know I guess they haven't spoiled every card coming out yet, but are there any of the cards out there? I know Juke was a really popular conversation yesterday at the store. Are there any others that people might go crazy about, you think?
I think the one that people are talking about most is Kanan Jarrus from the Ghost.
Yeah.
It's a crew upgrade that says, once per round, after a friendly ship at range 1 to 2 executes a white maneuver, you may remove 1 stress token from that ship. So that, I know that at least around here with my guys up in San Francisco, that is the one that's been talked about a lot.
So you can have Hera consistently do a red maneuver, modify it to whatever other red maneuver she wants, get stressed. Next turn, Kanan removes it when she does a white or a green, and then she can continue.
Yeah.
So okay, that's how many points is Kanan?
Kanan is 3 points.
3 points. That's
Yeah.
pretty fair.
Also really good for
Yeah.
a dash outrider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because one of the problems now is that people are using stress quite a lot, at least in the current meta around here. So flying something like Koran or even I don't know, any of the aces more or less, then you get quite a lot of stress and you get into trouble. So any way to remove stress is excellent. So everybody really gets excited when you see something like that.
Yep.
Yep.
And the great thing with that too is it's worded in a way that you could also take it off yourself.
Yeah.
So if it's on the ship that you're on, you could also clear the stress.
Oh yeah. Also, I'm liking Zeb for 1 point. He's a lot of fun to just
to have.
Yeah, because Hera doesn't, isn't the highest pilot skill and great front arc, so you can literally just like ram her down people's throats and be like, okay, we're just gonna shoot 5 dice into you, because now Zeb allows you to shoot another ship that you're in contact with, so you can just go full in, full thrust, and then just unload 5 dice.
Yeah.
And then the turret if you have it. So that's pretty much like almost a one shot on a Y-wing.
Not bad at all. So strategy-wise, looking at store champs, we know we've got the TIE Fighter, the First Order TIE Fighter, and we've got the new Xwing are out. We discussed a little bit off camera when we expect the release of the rest of the wave, but going into store champs, because we got a couple of them starting in a few weeks, what is it specifically you guys are thinking of possibly running? Is it going to change a lot, or are you just going to take 1 or 2 potential upgrades? I know you talked about wanting to test them.
Yeah. For me, I wanted to test some more Omega Leader, the guy that just came out, the new TIE FO Elite. So he's so with Juke and Comms Relay, if he's got a turret lock on you, you can't modify your dice when you're attacking him or being attacked. So it's really scary for something like Sunterfell, because he turtles up with 2 focus tokens, evade token, stealth device for 4 agility, and auto thrusters for potential change. More or less, Omega Leader ignores all of that. So he's rolling 4 dice, and then with Juke, any evades that Sunterfell rolls, Juke takes 1 of those off, and Sunterfell can't do anything about it. So in essence, it becomes kind of like the zone of area that Sunterfell can't fly in if he's target locked by this guy. And he's relatively cheap for like a ace style ship.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. No, I think the pilot Drew was talking about the new T-70 that gives an evade when you lose a shield. I've been trying to pair that together with Kara, which I really like playing. So it doesn't quite work yet, but I think I'm getting there. So I think that's something I'll try for Store Championship. Or I wouldn't be surprised if I end up with something like that.
I've been thinking about, I've been running a Chewbacca and Eden Vril list for the last few months, and I've been thinking of taking out Vril to put in like Poe Dameron, or the other T-70 pilot, Hello Asti, or Hello Nasty, or whatever. But taking Vril out and putting him in and see what I could do. Like the thing I like to do with Poe a lot is put BB-8 and push a limit on him, and then kind of have this kind of pseudo advanced sensors thing to him, where he would do his barrel roll and then push a limit off the barrel roll and then clear the stress of the green, and then do a third action, pretty much. So I've been kind of trying that out the last few weeks, and it's been getting mixed results, but I still like it.
Now, what was the Chewbacca build? Because you played in our SoCal Championships, which was a series that we did in Southern California amongst stores. For our qualifier at Gameology, you ran a Chewbacca build.
Yeah,
with
Chewbacca
Predator and
with Predator, Luke Skywalker, C-3PO, and Falcon Title. And
okay. And obviously, I think you took first place, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it worked out quite well.
Yeah, it worked out pretty
I
well.
just remember watching him. That was right when Wave 7 had come out, and then the twin
with,
laser
twin
turret,
laser turrets,
Y-wing.
yeah, that
Bill
was
took second place to you, and he just couldn't touch you. Just from
yeah.
that damage you were
It
doing.
was just kind of. I knew what I had to do because I played it previously. Like we kind of proxied the twin laser turret on the Y wings, and I had an idea of what to do, and I guess I just stuck to my game plan and it worked out. But like I played it again since then, and I've just had mixed results using the strategies. So it's like it's kind of hit or miss, but I'm glad it worked that one time.
So it was clutch when you needed it.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
Like, you can't play for anything during the preseason, but it's Super Bowl time. You're going to get the ring.
Exactly.
That's still not bad. So So Drew, how about you? What are you playing? I know your dynamic up in Northern California might be a little bit different than ours.
Oh, it's all good. Yeah, no, I don't know. I really like running what I've got right now with like the Whisper mini swarm with like 4 TIE fighters and Whisper. But as I'm looking at the Ghost and like the new T-70 and stuff like that, I'm really thinking about possibly switching over to Rebels for a few Store Champs and just testing out a couple of interesting things. The one thing that I just noticed with Hera and the Ghost is that you can run, what is it called? Accuracy correctors. And then you can give her the Auto Blaster turret, which only rolls 2 dice, but your hits can't be evaded.
Yeah.
And so if you can boost Hera into range 1 or even use Zeb to block an ace, that bumps you in your front arc or even rear arc if you have the Phantom still attached. That's 4 automatic damage. And so I'm just like, oh, that might be kind of fun to try out. But I don't know how well it's gonna do against like a TIE swarm or a swarm of any kind, even of Z's for scum or things like that. So
Yeah, I think you pretty much have to be taking out every time you shoot. You got to be dropping a ship. So you're having to do 2 to 3 damage. So.
Sounds nasty.
So what about Scum? I mean, this is the faction I play, which probably explains why I'm not at Worlds or winning regionals or anything. But so what are we seeing for Scum builds? Other than 4 twin laser turrets on 4 generic Y-wings, which it sounds incredibly boring.
Well, we still have the robots. The robots are still quite good, so that's one of the things. But I'm not really seeing that much going on. I faced a single robot or a single IG with 2 TLT Y-wings or at Worlds, and it was. I think it has some potential, but more or less it's the robots or the quad TLT. I haven't seen anything else lately, at least.
Now, is that because it's just not rolling enough dice? It doesn't have enough mobility? There just aren't enough ships out there to give you the same, diversity that.
In a sense, I think that's the problem. I think that's one of the reasons why. I used to play a very similar list to Drew, Whisper and Mini Swarm, and I tried out Full Swarm for a while. So I've been with the new TIE fighters coming in. I've been trying to look at should I go back into swarms? But I think it's the same problem with scums. I see that there is some potential there. I just can't figure it exactly out. So one upgrade card or one ship or something, and I might make it work. But so far, it just not quite there yet.
Just not there yet. So,
what I think Scum has going for it is that Fantasy Flight learned when they were like doing the Wave 6 with the introduction of Scum, is that high skill pilots with EPTs have really kind of really not messed up the game, but I think they're realizing now. I mean, if you look at Wave 7, where none of the pilots except for I think Talonbane Cobra and maybe one other pilot had an EPT, but no one else did, is that they're trying to bring it back down to we have less veteran instincts and less super high skill pilots that always fire first. And I feel like because of that and because of what's already out previously for Imperials and Rebels, that they're just not quite there. But looking at the 2 upcoming ships like the Mist Hunter and the Jumpmaster 5K, I feel like those 2 alone will bring them above or at the tier where Rebels and Imperials are at.
Yeah, completely agree. Yeah.
Yeah, because right now Scum doesn't have their primary weapon turret, big ship out, and Vinegar is really gonna.
And Houndstooth just didn't cut it.
Yeah, well, Houndstooth is kind of, it feels a little bit like a shuttle, so it's got its uses, but for a lot of builds in the past, either between Han or Dash or Rear Admiral Chiranu for the Empire, you don't have a lot of, you can't build around this one solid 360 ship.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a couple lists in some of our local events with a triple Houndstooth do fairly well,
That's a lot of
but it
fun.
wasn't topping. I mean, I have to admit, I mean, it was doing well. It wasn't. It was possibly top 4 out of a 12 to 15 person tournament, but that's just going to drop you to potentially maybe top 16 when you want to make a top 8 cut at a regional. So it didn't. I mean, I don't want to bash the players, but it could have been a little bit of the player skill just not having a lot of experience with that build. But do we really think that even with some upgrades that the Houndstooth is going to make the cut? Or is this something that if you really like Bosk, you play casually in your casual games, but not tournament level?
I mean, like Dell said, the dial is very much like a shuttle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in my group we call it the shuttle deluxe, essentially.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
definitely better,
so-
but it feels like
yeah. So
I would totally agree with that.
So you have the 6-point option of being able to evacuate into a smaller ship when it blows up, but you don't get a Palpatine, which
Yeah.
makes the Imperial shuttle. Well, I don't know if it's necessarily worth it. I see it played a lot with Palpatine on the shuttle, but again, it's not a list that's topping. So
I think with some, because you have quite a lot of upgrade slots in Houndstooth, so with the right upgrade, if something comes out in the next wave or the wave after that, something, it could really go big. But
okay.
for now, I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, so you'll be happy to sit down and play against somebody in round 1 of Store Champs if they're doing triple Houndstooth.
Yeah.
You'll be excited for that.
No, I'm not saying I'll be excited, but yeah, it's not the
We're all
worst
talking
matchup.
about this now. I went to a tournament yesterday, and the last Store Championship from last year, a friend of mine ran 4 shuttles with 3 engine upgrades and 1 with an ion cannon, and he made it to 9th place out of like 36 people.
Wow.
Which is insane. And then yesterday we had a guy who I mentioned the list to him like 3 months ago, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna fly that. That's awesome." And he made top 4 with 4 shuttles, although he was running Tactician, Emperor Palpatine, and Vader, 1 on each of the shuttles. And it was like like having that much hull to chew through, and even with running 3 YVs, I feel like if you know how to fly them, you can do pretty decently with them. But again, it's all because you're so slow, because you don't really have the best dial. It really does. You really need a lot of good piloting in order to get it to work.
Yeah. Me and Don were actually talking about on the way over here that some of my friends back home tried the Aaron Bonner's list, 3 K-Wings with Tactician, and he completely ruined me at Worlds. It was awful. but
He got me too.
yeah, but I mean, but they were trying to fly it. It just didn't quite work. So it's not just about the cards, the what you're flying. It's about the pilot.
yeah.
Well, a lot of it, because I'm more into, as far as competitive scene, I've done a lot of Warhammer, obviously, War Machine and other stuff. And you do see a lot of people list tailoring towards what did the last person win. You know, it's same with Xwing, but it is a very important lesson is you still have to know how to play the game. So, and maneuvering is such a big deal in this game. I think some of the starting maneuvers. And so a few of the things that I always found interesting is watching how crazy people go with setting up their asteroids and their initial maneuvers and everything else, and it's kind of a good thing for us to segue over to. Like, how do you guys like to start your game? Like, obviously, we want to have pathways for asteroids and everything else, but we see some people do one portion at one corner, one portion at another. I see it a lot of times like Dallas with the swarms, it's all blocked up. I think, Don, the one time I played against you, you did tie swarms and destroyed me as well. This is a couple months ago. And I think I took out one of your ties before my 4th ship went boom. So, and I was only running 3, so no, I'm kidding. But so as far as it, really, what are some good things for people to look out for, especially when they're new to the game, to really consider?
I guess for asteroid placement to start, the easiest one, the most basic portion of it is like how many ships do you have versus how many ships does the opponent have. And with TIE Swarm, I usually outnumber. So typically, if you have more ships and they have less, you want the asteroids not condensed in the middle because you got to fly through them more. So if you have more ships and you got to maneuver, typically it's better to move them away. If
Okay.
you think you're a better pilot than them and you have more maneuvering options, then typically you want them more condensed, because then that messes them up, but you can still fly through it.
Okay.
So that's just like the baseline principle.
Now, with your swarm, are you trying to bump a lot and get in the way and have other ships do the damage?
Yeah, so for TIE Swarm, one of the key abilities of that is like sacrificing one ship's shot to fly out there in front, have the other ship will run into it, get blocked so it doesn't get actions, and then I can unload with the rest of them. But what the opponents are trying to do is trying to use the asteroids to make me fly through them. That hurts all my ties, I lose my actions, and then they pounce. So usually they try to condense it, and I try to spread them out and keep them in the corners.
Okay.
So what I usually do when I'm, well, of course it highly depends on the list, but I usually have 2 or 3 openings. So if I'm flying something that I've been flying for a while, and I tend to do that, I tend to fly the same list for, I don't know, at least 3 months or something, because I feel that that's the only way to learn. So I usually have then 2 or 3 openings depending on what I'm facing. So I guess my suggestion for beginning players is find a reasonably good list that you know is at least reasonably good, and then fly it for, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 times or something, and then you really know how it works and what works for you, because it's also a perspective of personality. I like flying Koran. I have some friends that have tried my builds and they hate it. They just can't make it work. So it's about finding what works for you.
I play a lot of like large base turret ships. So when I set up my asteroids, I tend to keep it wide open, so it's easier for me to get through and keep the middle like open, so that since I have a 360 shot, I can get in that middle and try to get as many ships into firing range as possible. So having that kind of wide space and not landing on asteroids or debris fields or going through them really helps you out a lot.
Okay. Drew?
Yeah, so it's kind of odd. I like big rocks. I love the large asteroids, and I feel like I always try to clump them up in the middle as much as I possibly can. Not only because a very large portion of the time I feel like I know what I'm doing when I maneuver, but I also feel like the asteroids can be used to hinder your opponent when you guys are playing. Whereas someone will be just off by a little bit and clip one, or if I have to, I can go with the ties into the rocks, and of course when I say into the rocks, I mean like not landing on them or like flying over them, but like weaving, threading the needle sort of thing. And I feel like depending on where you place your rocks, it could also be an intimidation factor, right? Where it's like, oh, I have a TIE Swarm and I'm just gonna clump them all into the middle, and like really make you think like, do you want to go into the asteroids to try and make me go in there? Because if I place them there, there's obviously a reason for it. But I always feel like going with the asteroids is the best call, and going with the biggest ones is also the best call, because it doesn't matter what you're flying. You can always stay to the edges. I know that may not always be the best thing, but I don't know. I was taught at a very young age when playing Xwing to always run the deadliest things you can. So I don't know if that's like terrible or I just feel like you want to keep things in the middle.
Well, then they can't run off the board like a few people tend to do from time to time in big events if they're always in the middle. Right, Don?
Oh, never.
No? Never. Yeah. So any other final thoughts, guys, that we want to bring up?
No, just I'm loving all the stuff that Fantasy Flight's giving us right now, because earlier in the year we didn't have a whole lot. Now we're like, we got the Raider, we got the Gazanti, we got the Force Awakens stuff just dropped kind of out of nowhere. We got Wave 8 on the way. It's just like, oh, there's so much good stuff.
Another Defender preview.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, so much Star Wars.
You think it's better with them staggering the releases instead of, because all the previous waves, it's like, here's all of your ships all at once. Now they did 2 ships. We're probably going to get 2. We're not going to see all of Wave 8 now in one shot. Do you think that's a better deal for players, or you just want all your toys now?
More or less.
More toys.
More toys. More toys. Like it's Christmas time.
Of course, the money is the big issue.
Yeah.
you have enough money to buy everything when it comes out all at once, or do you want it in like little spurts so you can figure everything out?
So you can budget for it. Well, if it's in true gamer fashion, you did not budget and you still bought it. So,
More or less, yeah. Sounds about right.
especially Christmas season.
Right.
So, well, guys, hey, I appreciate it. We've got some more barbecue. Hopefully, you guys liked it and had a
It's
good time.
excellent.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we'll definitely have to do this again, especially now. We'll have regionals. Well, we'll go through all store champs, obviously, and regionals will hit in summertime, and we should have at least one in Southern California. Hopefully at my store, but we'll see how the list comes out. So great, I appreciate it. So if there's some final thoughts, jump in. Otherwise, let's finish with the food and hang out.
Food sounds good.
So, I'll be there for you guys.
We'll do it in spirit.
I'll try to email you some, but I don't think it'll work.